Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I wanted to come on and do a little story time. Might even split it up into two parts, but we'll see how it goes. This is the time that I found out I was pregnant, but I didn't know it. So we'll leave for how far along to the end of the video. So let's start with September 2012. I was living the single life, just coming from the summer. You know, now they call it a hot girl summer, but I was just calling it a single summer. And met this guy. We started dating immediately, and we dated like for 3 months. Yeah, it was like for 3 or 4 months, and we broke up. And I just continued living my life. So January comes, and my brother's talking about getting married. He wants to get married in Vegas. I'm like, I want to go. So he's like, yeah, come on, let's go. So, got everything situated for that. Grateful for them because they paid for my flight. That's always a good thing. And what happened was we went to Vegas in February of 2013. So we went to Vegas, and we're partying, we're having a good time. They get married, it's beautiful, everything is all good. And then when I come back, I meet another guy, totally different guy. So we're gonna call him Guy B. Guy B and I start dating immediately. Apparently, I just move fast back then, not now. And we were dating and seeing each other, and just time was going on. March we were dating, April we were dating, and then May my father got sick. So he was in the hospital, and we were, concerned about him, worried about him, and that whole month of April to May was just full of stress because he got sick at the end of April. So he was sick all of May, and we were back and forth between the hospital and home, and making sure we were taking care of ourselves, because you can get run down when you're taking care of someone you love, or at least working with the doctors trying to get them to take care of the one you love. And like the very end of May, I'm at home, I'm laying in the bed, and I feel a kick, and I was like, I don't think that was like a cramp. So I'm just like, okay, never mind. So I like reposition myself in the bed, trying to make myself more comfortable because it really hurt. And then I got another kick. And then from that kick was another kick. And I'm like, okay, something's not right. Like something's going on with me. So I called my cousin up to my room, and she's like, what do you want? What's going on? And I'm like, feel my stomach. Just feel my stomach. And she's like, what do you mean feel your stomach? And I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but just feel my stomach. And she's like, what? It's hard. She's like, but I don't see anything wrong with you. And I'm like, just like feel around for a second. So she's feeling around, and then she feels the kick too. And she was like, oh, you pregnant. I told you was pregnant. She had told me for a long time that she thought I was pregnant, but I was still having my period every month from 2012, the end of 2012 through 2013, up until May of 2013. I still had my period. I was working out, so it wasn't that my clothes weren't fitting, but I was hungry a lot, I will say that. And I just thought it was because I was trying to eat healthier. When you're on a diet and you try and eat better, and you be hungry because you eating better, yeah, and you feel like you're not full enough. So yeah, that's what I thought was going on. And then from there, I made a doctor's appointment for like, it was like a Friday, and I made the doctor's appointment that Monday. So that Tuesday I went to the doctor, and they were like, let's take a urine sample, let's do blood, let's, do the full workup. So they're doing everything, and the urine sample came back pregnant. And while they had me there, they were like, how far along do you think you are? And when was your last menstrual period? And I'm like, I just had my period a few weeks ago. And they were like, a few weeks ago. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, okay, well, that is not too uncommon that a woman can still have her period while pregnant. So they're like, well, since you don't know when your last menstrual period was, then we're going to set you up for a sonogram. So then they did the Doppler and I heard the baby's heartbeat. So I'm thinking like I'm a few, like maybe 12, 14 weeks, because I remember being pregnant before and feeling, you know, and having the, hearing the heartbeat. But unfortunately with that one, I lost that baby. Around that time. So I was like, okay, so I was nervous. I was scared, but I immediately told Guy B that I was seeing, and he was happy. He was like, oh, we're going to have a baby. Oh, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to be together. He's like, what you think about moving to Arizona? I'm like, Arizona? I don't know. I'm like my family is here. I'm comfortable here. So I don't know. Like, you know, I've lived in New York my whole life. Like, I've traveled, yes, but as far as like moving to a whole other side of the country with somebody you only known for less than 6 months and you pregnant, yeah, no, not okay. So, you know, he's planning all these big things and I'm just nervous. Like, I gotta tell my mom I'm pregnant. Like, my mom didn't even think I was seeing somebody. So I come home and I tell my mom that I'm pregnant, and she was like, okay, what are you gonna do? Of course I'm gonna keep it, because I wanted a baby. Like, backstory to this, I had 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 miscarriages before this pregnancy. So I'm happy, but I'm scared at the same time, because any woman that ever has experienced a miscarriage is so heartbreaking, and it just kills like your confidence. You feel less than a woman. You feel like you can't, you know, carry a baby because you keep losing babies, and then the mate that you're with, they blame you. Some do, not all, but the one I was with blamed me. So I just felt like, you know, I was going to try my best to get this baby to term. And my sonogram was the next day. So I go in for the sonogram, and the technician is doing, you know, the normal sonogram, and I see the baby, and I'm like, that baby kind of big. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, I just found out I was pregnant yesterday. And she was like, oh, well, congratulations. Well, I'll get some measurements. Let me take a look. So she's looking around, and she's like, you just found out yesterday? And I'm like, yeah, I just found out yesterday. And she's like, oh, no, honey. She said, you need to get it together and get it together fast. And I'm like, why? Like, what's wrong? Like, what's going on? And the lady tells me that I am, you ready? 8.5 months pregnant. And I'm just like, and I'm like about to pass out. She had to catch me because I almost fell off the table. And I'm like, 8.5 months. And I'm doing the math in my head, like 8.5, 5. What I thought I was like 3, 4. 8.5, like, nah. She like, yeah, look, this is the head, this is the heart, this is the legs. Do you want to find out what you're having because you need to hurry up and plan? And I'm like, yeah, you might as well tell me now. And she like, you're having a girl. And I'm like, a girl? I'm having a girl? Like, I'm having a girl? Like, what? I'm having a girl? Like, I was so excited, so happy, but scared, because I'm like, damn, I gotta have a conversation with Guy B and tell him he ain't the daddy. And he is excited. And then I gotta have a conversation with Guy A and tell him he the daddy, because he was the only other guy I was with. So I'm like, Lord, I don't want to end up on Maury. This is messy. This is ghetto. I said that would never be me. So stay tuned for part 2.